All they had to do was listen. Dare I say, all they had to do was follow the science. Which, by the way, what happened to following the science? 4 years ago, we were commanded to believe the fairy tales told by our great Aunt Fauci. If you preferred breathing fresh air over wearing a mask, you were called a science denier. In some cases, especially areas with high levels of unattractiveness, I wish they would re-implement mask mandates. If you're skeptical of global warming, or as they now prefer to call it, climate change, if you have even the slightest hint of skepticism, you're accused of being a climate denier, which is very strange. I'm not a denier of the climate. I believe the climate exists. I'm just having a very hard time understanding how cow flatulence is an existential threat to my existence. If deacons at Woke United Methodists were really concerned for the climate, they would be demanding that ABC cancel The View. Nothing harms the climate worse than the toxic winds of the boodle breeze from the whoopee cushion. Anytime it conveniently fits their narrative, the deacons, they demand that we follow the science. The only time it seems we are not told to follow the science is when it comes to men competing in women's sports. In that scenario, we're not only told to ignore the science, we're told to ignore our own eyes. That's not a beard, that's just a really big bruise. That's not a bulge, it's protective padding. Over the summer, the Olympics, they were given a golden opportunity to follow the science. The Olympics were given an opportunity on a global stage to do the right thing. There were 2 female boxers at the Olympics whose genders were being questioned. Now, just to be clear, these 2 boxers, they were not identifying as the letter Q. These 2 boxers weren't questioning their own gender. Both were choosing to identify as female, and they were confident with their identification. It was everyone else who was questioning their gender. Prior to Imane Khelif and Lin Yuting competing against women in boxing at the Olympics, which, by the way, I don't know if you guys know this, but boxing is a dangerous sport. It's even more dangerous when one of the participants throwing punches has a distinct physical advantage over their opponent. But prior to Imane Khelif and Lin Yuting competing at the Olympics, a report was leaked by the International Boxing Association claiming that Imane Khelif and Lin Yuting were born with XY chromosomes. Now, I am not a biologist, but I'm pretty sure that the only people walking the planet with XY chromosomes are choosing between Speedos and tuck-friendly bathing suits when they go to the beach. I'm pretty sure XY chromosomes come with a nice set of Franken beans. When the IBA discovered this information about Imane Khelif, both boxers were removed from the World Boxing Championships. Now, that is very important to remember because the precedent had been set. Unfortunately, the International Olympic Committee, they didn't have the beans to acknowledge the report from the IBA. Instead, the IOC, they listened to the shit fucks in the mainstream media, and they allowed Imane Khelif and Lin Yuting to win gold medals. And for the past 3 months, they thought they had gotten away with it. Over the last 90 or so days, the Olympics thought everyone had forgotten and moved on. But there was just one problem, one tiny problem. There was a journalist in France who refused to forget. Unlike the American media, there was a journalist in France who actually did some investigative journalism, and the results of his investigation should be humiliating for the Olympics. If you haven't already, make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. Go ahead and get to the sponsor for today's video, my good friends at Trump Trends. Trump Trends just released an exclusive collector's edition of gold boots and sneakers. These gold-plated shoes, they are made with premium Italian-grade leather, and they are handcrafted right here in America. There's only 1,000 pair of these limited edition boots and shoes available. These are the perfect gift for the collector in your family. With Christmas right around the corner, you can give them a rare piece of history by making them one of the very few people that own a pair of limited edition Trump footwear. Since these are handcrafted with strong American hands, takes some time for them to be prepped and shipped. If you want them to arrive by Christmas, they need to be ordered tomorrow. So you can vote for Trump tomorrow and purchase these limited edition shoes or boots at the same time. Trump Trends is your one-stop shop for everything Donald Trump. And the best part is, when you purchase something from Trump Trends, a portion of your purchase, it is donated to the campaign of Donald Trump. So join over 30,000 satisfied customers by clicking the link in the description below. Use my promo code BTL10, BTL10. Save 10% off your first purchase with Trump Trends. Last month, French journalist Jafar Ayoudia, I know I am butchering your name, dude, but French isn't exactly my third language. The only French I know is French fries or ménage à trois, which I learned in the French classic film Night Nurses from Jersey. But since I can't pronounce his name, I'll refer to this French journalist as DJ. Last month, DJ, he obtained a copy of a physical examination that was conducted on Imane Khelif. The exam was conducted in June of 2023, 3 months after Imane Khelif was kicked out of a boxing tournament by the IBA, and a full year before the Paris Olympics. This examination was conducted to verify the presence of a disorder of sexual development. The disorder is called 5-alpha reductase deficiency. KC, what the hell is that? I don't have a fucking clue. Unlike Jill Biden, I don't pretend to be a doctor. Even though I don't understand the specifics of this disorder, there was some language in this report that I was able to understand. Imane Khelif had an MRI done during this examination. According to the report, the MRI determined that Imane Khelif did not have a uterus. Now again, I'm not a doctor, but I'm pretty sure only women are born with a uterus. Well, KC, this proves nothing. Thousands and thousands of women don't have a uterus. It's true. That's true. Hysterectomies are very common. It is entirely possible that Imane Khelif underwent a hysterectomy and had the uterus removed, which would explain why Imane Khelif was allowed to win the gold medal at the Olympics. But again, there's just one problem, one tiny problem with that theory. The MRI also showed that Imane Khelif had internal testicles. Now, I didn't know what the hell that meant either. Initially, I thought it might have been a typo. I thought they meant to say external testicles, or as Donnie likes to call them, lemons. But apparently, internal testicles are a thing that can only exist in men. A chromosomal test confirmed that Imane Khelif has an XY karyotype. A hormone test confirmed that Imane Khelif's levels, they were consistent with levels typically seen in males. Let me ask you something. If an unknown French journalist was able to find this report, how come the Olympics weren't able to find it? Well, maybe they didn't know where to look. Could be. Could be. Or maybe they didn't bother. Maybe the Olympics failed to perform a single test on Imane Khelif to determine whether they should be competing against women in boxing, which would mean the Olympics are not only responsible for taking away opportunities from women, the Olympics are also responsible for putting women in potential danger. At minimum, this is incompetence, but more than likely, it's negligence. This report was released earlier this afternoon. I'm recording this video at 5 o'clock Central Time in the afternoon. I've had this information since about noon today. Guess how many mainstream media outlets have picked up this story? Just take a wild guess. Now you got to remember, the mainstream media, they were all over this story 3 months ago. The media was staunchly defending Imane Khelif during the Olympics. So guess how many of those same defenders are reporting on this follow-up report? None. The Washington Post made a pathetic attempt at covering the story. Headline at the Washington Post: Trump's closing ad features debunked claims about Olympic boxer. Why am I not surprised that the Washington Post tried to tie this story directly to the Trumper? But at least the Washington Post kind of mentioned the story. There's been nothing from the New York Times, nothing from ESPN, nothing from USA Today. For some reason, the mainstream media seems to be exercising their right to remain silent. I wonder why. Now, will the Olympics strip Imane Khelif of the gold medal? Probably not. If I had to guess, I would assume that the Olympics will do everything they can to debunk these reports, or they're just going to ignore them and hope this all goes away. And unfortunately, that is probably what's going to happen. If this report was released any other Monday, it might have a chance to gain traction. But tomorrow is Election Day, which means the rest of the week and possibly the rest of the month, it is going to be nonstop coverage of the election. By this time tomorrow, this report will probably be forgotten. If you haven't seen the footage of Imane Khelif boxing at the Olympics, I encourage you to check it out. I would share it with you here, but when I did that over the summer, the Olympics made me take it down. But just check out the boxing match between Imane Khelif and Angela Carini. Then, you tell me if Imane Khelif should be allowed to compete in boxing against women. But in the meantime, give me your thoughts. A French journalist uncovers medical testing conducted on Imane Khelif from last summer. Mainstream media choosing to ignore this report, choosing to remain silent. Do you think we will see a response from the Olympics? Or will all of this be forgotten by tomorrow because of the election? Let me know. Sound off in the comments below. Like, subscribe, share the video. Appreciate your support. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.